now like to give the floor to the Chief of Mission of IOM the Netherlands, Mr. Antonio Polosa. He came to the Netherlands, I think, more or less at the time when we started this project. So it was also for him a symbolic start. So please, Mr. Polosa, you can do your opening word. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? All right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone to this closing event of the ED4D project, which stands for Entrepreneurship by Diaspora for Development, or better known as Promoting and Facilitating Diaspora Entrepreneurship in Ghana and Ethiopia. This is the first project of its kind for IOM the Netherlands, with a focus on diaspora entrepreneurship, and also the first collaboration with a project partner and donor like PUM. Even though the topic of diaspora entrepreneurship was something relatively new for IOM the Netherlands, it fitted very well within the IOM global and vast experience on diaspora engagement at large. Indeed, we have more than 15 years of experience in the design and implementation of initiatives linking diaspora to their country of origin through knowledge transfer. These types of projects fits also in the IOM global work on maximizing the positive relationship between migration and development, and the growing political interest on the topics such as the Global Forum on Migration and Development, which was launched in 2007, the United Nations High-Level Dialogue on International Migration and Development, which was launched in 2006 and then continued in 2013, and the larger framework of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals to be reached by 2030, and the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly and Regular Migration, better known as GCM, adopted almost 2 years by now. The Objective 19 clearly stated the necessity to create conditions for migrants and diaspora to fully contribute to the sustainable development on all countries. It is a fact that the home countries of this diaspora increasingly adopt policies that encourage the involvement of their citizens and living abroad. Diaspora, indeed, can be a powerful actor in many ways, including to spur the private sector. And they can have an advantage compared to local entrepreneurs, since they often bring something new and compared to foreign entrepreneurs who are less willing to take some risks and are not as familiar with the local context. This does not mean that all members of the diaspora are by definition great entrepreneurs, but if they do possess a set of entrepreneurial skills, then we believe that they are in a unique position to recognize market openings, drive innovation, and take risk while maximizing existing growth opportunities. In today's event, we will learn that how a group of 20 entrepreneurs from Ghana and 20 from Ethiopia have developed and refined their business ideas, and how some have successfully grown their businesses. The intention of the program was to provide them with the necessary tools, knowledge, information, connections, and opportunities that would enable them to start or to scale up their business in a well thought through manner. It has been indeed an interesting journey, with some unforeseen challenges along the way due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but still truly a success. It has shown us that being part of a bigger group network, the ecosystem empowers people and opens doors for further business opportunities. I would also like to take this opportunity to warmly thank POM for its committed support and good collaboration in such a great endeavor. And now let's enjoy this event and deeply hope that together we can find more opportunities and ideas to further support and consolidate the successful entrepreneurial spirit shown to us so far. So thank you very much all for your kind attention, and gets back to work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Polosa. So I think everybody in this session probably knows me, but for those who don't, my name is Dorien de Ketele. I have been the project coordinator for this program at IWAM, the Netherlands. But of course, I haven't done this on my own. I was supported on a day-to-day basis by my focal points in Ghana, Eric Akomani, and also by my focal point in Ethiopia, Frewat Tefera. They were of great support, and we couldn't have done it in an isolated manner. Of course, we've collaborated along the way with all of the PUM colleagues who have been, some of them, friends in the meantime. And we had great partners as well, like CD Circle and North-South Consulting and Impact Hub, but you will learn a bit more about them later in the session. So I will share a presentation with you with a short overview of what we've done throughout these 2 years. So Uzoma, if you can please share the screen, then we can start. I think the WebEx is also tired by the end of the year. It's taking a little bit of time, but it will come. Maybe there's some connection issue. But in any case, so the program, as you all know, started 2 years ago in November 2018, and it lasted for over 2 years. So the project is officially ending at the end of this month. The project was officially entitled Promoting and Facilitating Diaspora Entrepreneurship in Ghana and Ethiopia. But at IWAM, we thought to give it an abbreviation, and we abbreviated it to ED4D because it fits well with our other project, which is called CD4D. And CD4D is about transfer of knowledge, and ED4D is about entrepreneurship. And we have one website that is called connectingdiaspora.org, where you can find all the information about this project. I can see it's difficult for Uzoma to share the presentation. Let me try to see if I can maybe do it from my computer. I'm sorry for this. I thought that we would have been experts by now in sharing presentations online in this pandemic setting. Can you see something? No.
No, not yet.
Okay. No. What about now?
Yes.
Yes, good.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm trying it from my computer. So this is the logo that we've designed for ED4D, which is quite colorful and has also a symbolic meaning because it's a flower, and then we think that the seeds can grow elsewhere. So as Mr. Polosa already said, this has been a project in collaboration with PUM. It's the first collaboration between IWAM and PUM. On the picture, you will see our Chief of Mission and also the Managing Director of PUM signing the official agreement, which is a little bit more than 2 years ago. So the project duration I already mentioned, a bit more than 2 years. The objective was mainly to reinforce the capacities of the Ghanaian and Ethiopian diaspora entrepreneurs residing in the Netherlands to set up or even scale up businesses back home. We also wanted to promote an enabling or a trusting environment for their business and act as a facilitator and a coordinator at the service of the selected entrepreneurs. So we had different steps throughout the project. Of course, if you want to do a project on diaspora, the first step is that you actually have to reach them. So we did quite some effort at the beginning of the project to try to inform people with a Ghanaian background and Ethiopian background living in the Netherlands about the existence of this project. So we designed a few flyers, we distributed them. We relied on key partners also to spread the information. And I would really like to thank also the Ghanaian and the Ethiopian embassy in the Netherlands, because they've been of crucial support since the beginning, also in doing outreach and giving us good tips on how to reach their community. We did a lot of advertisement on social media, and we also, it seems a bit old-fashioned maybe these days to do a radio show or appear on TV, but we did both of it and it was quite successful. And of course, we had a few physical events before the COVID came, and this was still possible. It seems almost like a surreal, a surreal environment. So this is a flyer that we had designed and that we had distributed with the different steps of the program. And then in January 2019, we organized an event in The Hague. We first had the Ethiopia Lounge. So we had actually two speakers who came specifically from Ethiopia for this event. The lady in the middle that you can see on the middle picture is the director of the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency, who had recently been established, and she came specifically just for one day to talk to the Ethiopian diaspora and the different policies that Ethiopia has put in place to support them. We also had Mr. Temasgen that you can see on the right picture, completely in the left, who is a representative of the Ethiopian Investment Commission. And he talked about the business climate and opportunities in Ethiopia. We also had different other speakers, like Mr. Steven van Kempen, who was a volunteer of PUM and who will speak also later during our session today, who gave us some tips about doing what it takes to have a successful business. So this was an Ethiopia Lounge, and then we had like a similar event for Ghana the week after. Also our colleagues from IOM from these two countries, they flew in specifically for this event. For Ghana, we had one special guest also from the Ghanaian Investment and Promotion Center, Mr. Ashong, that you will also see on the middle picture, who is sitting next to me. And he was also talking, of course, about the business opportunities and the business opportunities in Ghana. And he answered specific questions coming from the entrepreneurs. So both events were hosted in The Hague, and I think we had an audience of around 80 at both events. And then we did a similar event both in Accra and in Addis. The first one was in Accra. This was in April 2019, which was organized by my colleagues of IOM Accra. They invited a lot of key stakeholders from the Ghanaian ecosystem. We can see somebody speaking from the diaspora office. But we also had the Ghanaian Investment and Promotion Center, several institutional actors, but also some from the private sector. There was also a representative of PUM at that event, and it had a good media coverage. So it was quite a success also to make this project known in Ghana and to make institutional stakeholders aware that this exists, so that when our entrepreneurs travel there, that they can come in the framework of this project. So we had a similar event in Addis in June 2019. Again, it was quite well attended by different ministries, by the Ethiopian Investment Commission, by the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency, but also by different banks, commercial bank and others. Again, to make the project known, and then supported by by the ecosystem so that our entrepreneurs do not come in an isolated way, but can easily tap on their peers. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so after we've done all the outreach efforts, it was time to launch a call for business IDs, and this is what we did in March 2019. We left it open for a bit more than 2 months. So the idea was that everyone with a business ID could send us their business ID, and then we would select some of them. We decided deliberately to leave it open to all sectors and also to startup and scale-ups. So the initial call was not too complicated. So we had a standard template that they had to fill in. And the business ID needed to be a little bit elaborate, but it didn't have to be a complete business plan at that point. So we had received, I think, around 40 for each countries. And then the idea was to select 20 of them for each country. We set up a selection committee in the Netherlands, but we also set up a selection committee in Ghana and Ethiopia. So in the selection committee of the Netherlands, we had IOM the Netherlands and PUM. And then in the selection committee for Ghana and Ethiopia, we had IOM Ghana together with GIPC. And in Ethiopia, we had IOM Ethiopia together with EIC. So we put all the scores together, and then we were able to select the 20 best. We had a kind of evaluation grid, and scores were given based on the business canvas that was filled in, the business can, if there was some kind of innovation attached to the ID, and also if the business ID had a potential to have a good impact on society. So this is a picture of the selection committee in IOM in the Netherlands, so composed of PUM and IOM. We were actually quite big, and some are in the audience today. So who got selected? So for Ghana, we had 20, for Ethiopia also 20. You can see that we had 5 women for Ghana, and also for Ethiopia. We didn't do this on purpose. We just it just turned out this way. I must say that we received many more applications from men than from women, but in the end, we just selected the ones that were of good quality or had a good potential. I didn't put up the names here yet, but you will see them later in the we will have a short ceremony where you will meet all of the participants of ED4D, all of the entrepreneurs. But you can see that both for Ghana and Ethiopia, it's a mix between scale-ups and startups, although I must say that most of the participants are in more like a startup phase, but some want to grow their business also. If you look in terms of sectors, it's also very diverse. We have a lot on agriculture, on food processing, on renewable energy, on waste management, on IT, on tourism. So these are a variety of sectors. And when we look at the priorities also that had been advanced by the Ethiopian Investment Commission and even the Ghanaian Investments and Promotion Center, we can see that it corresponds pretty much also to their priority sectors. So with this group of 20 per country, we started a series of trainings. The main partner for these trainings was the ZD Circle. You will see Frida and Tarangui a little bit later in our panel session. She's a lady, an entrepreneur from Kenya, who actually organized the training sessions for this group of 40. We had different Saturdays in a row during September and October, where I would say more general entrepreneurial topics were discussed. So the idea was not so much to go into sector specific or context specific, but it was really much focused on general entrepreneurial knowledge that everyone should have. So some of the topics that were addressed were business model canvas, design thinking, costing and pricing, human resources, marketing. At the end of these 4 or different Saturdays, we also organized a pitch event, which was very nice actually, because we asked all of the participants to present their business in 3 minutes. Something that is easy if you explain it like this, but if you have to do it in practice, it's not so easy to explain your business in 3 minutes, but they did a good job. And some of the videos we actually have online on our website, so you can have a look at it. And then for this pitch event, we invited also people from FMO, PUM, other stakeholders in a jury. And we also invited some investors into the audience. So I think it was a very nice event that also made it possible to grow some connections. During that pitch event, we also had a representative from the Ethiopian embassy and from the Ghanaian embassy. In combination with these different topics that have been addressed by Frida and Toon, who is also in the audience, I saw. We did something on communication with Pimp My Village, more about intercultural communication and what you can expect as a diaspora entrepreneur, having lived abroad and still having maybe the same values as your home country, but still a bit different. And so she gave a lot of tips on how you can deal with belonging to two worlds and how you should adapt your communication style to that. We also had a session on crowdfunding with the 1% Club, and then we offered the opportunity to those who wanted to actually set up a crowdfunding campaign online if they wanted to. So this is a group picture of all of the participants during the training. I think this was the day of the pitch event. So you will see some representatives of PUM. You will see representatives of the embassies and then all of our participants. So it's a nice group picture. Here are the representatives of the Ethiopian embassy and the Ghanaian embassy. They have also been very much involved in this project since the beginning, and they were part of the jury during this pitch event. So then afterwards, after the training, we entered into the phase where PUM would take up an active role. And this is the mentoring process. I can see a lot of the PUM mentors also being part of this session. So the mentoring went on from November up to end of February, so a couple of months, 4 months. It was not, the idea was to match every individual entrepreneur with an expert of the PUM network. I think we'll give the floor a bit later also to two of the PUM volunteers. They will explain maybe a bit more what PUM does. But so we try to match them on sector. And the idea would be that the mentor would actually advise and help the mentee in refining and drafting the business plan. Here you can see a picture of one of our participants, which I think it's not a PUM mentor, but it's somebody of a factory that the PUM mentor took the mentee to. In all of the different steps of the process of the program, we also try to get feedback from the different participants. So also from the mentors, after this mentoring process, we asked some of the mentors if they could give some feedback on how it was to mentor our diaspora entrepreneurs. These are some of the statements that we took from the evaluation. Some are positive, some are a bit more critical, but I think that's the main idea about mentoring. It shouldn't be just a positive thing and thinking that nothing can be improved. I think the whole idea about mentoring is also to be constructive and to provide some feedback that can help the entrepreneur refining his or her idea. I'm not going to read through all of it, but maybe the one I really like is, I believe this is an excellent plan, practically, and I have to move my screen, and ideologically, it can be of enormous added value if these types of initiatives are supported and implemented. In addition to cultural change, the biggest bottleneck is finance. Another one was, he easily understands how to break down complex structures into simple solutions. Very ambitious plan with great potential, but will meet difficulties in African reality. If the plan is successful in the local markets, replicability is easy. So these are some of the feedbacks. I think also we also asked, of course, the participants if they had a good mentor relationship, and I think overall it was quite positive. But of course, a mentorship relation depends also very much on the personal click that you have with a person. I know that, for example, the person on this picture, Hanok, is still very much in contact with his mentor, and that makes us very happy. So at the end of this mentoring process, then we came to the towards the end of February last year, and then they had to submit us a more, let's say, refined business plan, so really a detailed business plan. So the idea was for us then to narrow the participants down from 20 to 10 to make it some kind of competition. We set up again a selection committee, but this time only in the Netherlands. We had again members in the jury from IWM the Netherlands, from PUM, from ZD Circle, from the Ethiopian embassy. Also the Ghanaian embassy was very interested, but at that time they had lots of other things, so they could not go read all the different plans, but they have always supported us very much. So the final rating that we did was based on the business plan that each entrepreneur has submitted to us, but also the scores that were given by the trainers during the sessions, and also the scores that were given by the mentors on the mentee. So we tried to put all the scores together, and then we had a group of 10 finalists per country. So for Ghana and for Ethiopia. I must say that it was not an easy task, and that even the ones who did not make it to the finals are actually still good, and that doesn't mean that they should not consider their business. It's just that we could only select 10. I must also say that from the 20 who started, I think 4 dropped out for Ghana and 4 for Ethiopia due to various reasons. Some didn't have the time to invest in their business, some didn't believe in it anymore, some for personal reasons. But I can say that at this point, we still have a group of 16 per country that are very motivated to start or scale something in Ghana and Ethiopia. So, so the finalists, they got a plane ticket to Ghana and Ethiopia, a return ticket. Then the idea was that we would organize a go and see mission for them to Ghana and Ethiopia. This is actually something that had been prepared already by the IOM colleagues in Ghana and Ethiopia. They had put together a very interesting agenda, actually, with different parties to meet them. And it was built up on 5 pillars. One, a more practical pillar. How can I register my business? What formalities are there involved? What are the existing support policies in the country? What are the financial opportunities for entrepreneurs? Are there incubators, accelerators that can help me? And can I get inspired by other diaspora entrepreneurs? Unfortunately, you all know that, I mean, these missions were planned Ghana end of March, and Ethiopia was planned in April. So this was just after the COVID pandemic hit us. And of course, we had to cancel everything, even though everything was already set up. So this was a bit of a pity, but we were able to replace it by something else that you will see later in my presentation. In the meantime, when we were stuck with this pandemic, we thought, okay, let's do something with this time virtually. So again, with partner ZD, we organized different webinars on access to finance, because we hear that it's often a topic or a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially those who are starting without a track record. It's not always easy to find funding opportunities. So we thought, okay, let's organize 5 sessions on access to finance, and we'll invite different speakers on existing financing and support schemes. So we invited Ethiopian Commercial Bank, Triodos, National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program from Ghana, EcoBank Ghana, Rabobank Foundation, Growth Africa, Impact Tribe, MK Subsidy, AHL Venture Partners, and Remit Fund. The idea of these webinars was not so much to was more to provide the information actually to entrepreneurs, what exists out there, and then leaving it up to them, of course, to see if something fits their business, and then it's up to them to go and chase that opportunity. So this was something that we did throughout May and August. These are again some pictures from the sessions. So one of the sessions was specifically on Ghana. We also had one session specifically on Ethiopia. And then one of the speakers had this quote from Einstein that I like. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So this is a little bit also related to pitching, and that you should be able to explain your business very easily in 3 minutes for people to understand it. So since we had to cancel the Go and See missions, we thought, okay, something that is still lacking in this program is something more based on context and also something sector specific. So we try to look for partnerships with local partnerships that could help us provide more information on how it is to set up a business locally in Ghana. So in Ghana, we partner with Impact Hub. And during the month of November, we had a very interesting virtual bootcamp on different topics again. It was 5 sessions on the legal and regulatory framework, on partnerships, on testimonials from others who have done it before, virtual tours of businesses, on market entry, on cross-border business. So very interesting topics that were addressed virtually. And in addition to these group sessions, we also, here you can see a picture from one of the sessions. The advantage of it is that participants are still in contact or linked to Impact Hub, because now they are a member of the Impact Hub network, which is actually a global network. So they can benefit from this whole virtual support. Also, they can be linked up to investors. They can benefit from information that they can find into the network. They can have sector-specific sessions. So it's something they have a specific password, and they can enter this virtual eco-community that can help them with their business. And they can even have one-on-one sessions still with the people from Impact Hub. So it's a kind of a soft landing also for them once they are in the country. As I mentioned before, the 10 finalists, they got a plane ticket to Ghana and to Ethiopia. Some have already traveled there and some will travel a bit later, but at least they also have a local contact point once they're in the country, which is very important. We did the same thing in Ethiopia with North-South Consulting, and you will also meet these different people in a panel session later. So in Ethiopia, again, we organized 5 sessions around the different topics. So welcome to do business in Ethiopia, more about the policies and the legal structure, then specifically business canvas, finance, and how to learn from others. Again, this was complemented with some one-on-one personal advice. I think throughout these different sessions, both for Ghana and Ethiopia, there was so much personal connection that it became a very safe space for all of the entrepreneurs to ask their very specific questions. And then, of course, in both Impact Hub and North-South Consulting have so much experience with advising businesses locally and internationally that they could give a lot of precious advice and information. So I hope, I'm sure it was very beneficial to the participants. So that's the last step in the project. Here are some pictures from the training that we organized in the Netherlands last year. I want to say to all of the entrepreneurs that although the project is ending, we will still be in touch, and we will also continue following up what you have become, because it's interesting also to know, to follow you a bit longer in time. I think we will still share a questionnaire also with where you can fill in how you have grown throughout this project and how this project has helped you along the way. As we already mentioned in the beginning, I think the objective of this project was not that we would have 10 businesses put up. I think the whole objective of this project was to accompany you in the journey before setting up a business or in scaling your business, and to offer you all the tools so that you are in a good position to actually make a well thought through decision if you want to go ahead or if you want to scale. And I think we've been quite successful in this. So I would like to thank all of the partners that have been involved since the beginning. You can find my email address. You can also find the general IOM website email, a website link, and also our specific Connecting Diaspora link. Yeah, that's it for my presentation. That's my presentation was supposed to end at 22:04, so it's exactly 22:04. I haven't really practiced it, but I'm very happy that I could stick to the time so well. So now we'll move to the second part of this event, which will be a testimony of two of the participants of our project, but I will let my colleague Marianne introduce them before they take the floor. So Marianne, please go ahead.
Hello everyone, I'm Marianne from IOM in The Hague, a colleague of Doreen's. And after your presentation, I think it's high time to hear from the participants themselves. To David Boateng and Eop Amra. David, maybe we'll begin with you. Can you please tell us first what you think of ED4D and then share your business ideas for Ghana? You're an expert in renewable energy.
Yes, thanks, Marianne. Yeah, I'd just like to start a bit from my reason why I'm in. I ended up in the ED4D program because I had already started trying to set up a business, a solar business in Ghana, and it actually came through another project. I've been going to Ghana since 2003 to help my sister run a charity for children there. And my sister was actually also part of the transfer program, knowledge transfer with IOM, actually. And through that period, I became quite frustrated and experienced energy shortage. In Ghana, we got a term doomsalt, where you lose the period, you get power cuts without any warning, affecting all kinds of businesses. And I am someone also with a background of electronics, and my passion has always been solar systems. And I've been building solar panels in my garage, trying to help family and friends. And I had family members.
I think the connection is getting a bit bad.
Yeah, David, we cannot hear you.
Maybe it's better if we try to put off our cameras when somebody's speaking. I don't know if it's because we're so
I had to. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello.
Yep, you can go ahead.
Okay, if you can hear me.
We can hear you now, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So I just we're running out of time already. But what happened was my company, the employer I was working for, went through a reorganization. That means I didn't have any job in 2006. So I took the opportunity to try and transform my passion in solar into my next job. I decided, made a conscious effort not to go back into my work, but actually take opportunity and properly run this as a business and get a better service for people, and also help solve the energy problem. And I was very passionate. I really believed I was going to make a difference. And so I was full of energy, took out my own savings, and then just basically started. And I worked very hard, got a few installations done, thinking that, I was making progress. But at some point, I hit a problem where I couldn't really find new customers. I couldn't really convince people that going to solar was a good thing for them and the benefits. And that was 2 years onto the time before I came across ED4D program. I got the opportunity to enroll. And then I realized all the mistakes I've made at that point, and I didn't have any business experience at all. I just thought, just enjoying people, seeing the smile in people's faces when they have the solar energy for the first time and they flick the switch, and then after that they don't have to pay so much electricity bill, or they have to have electricity 24 hours. For me, that was at the time the motivation, if you like, and I went on. And then the ED4D program came on, and I very, very well remember the first day we met. I met so many like-minded people from Ghana and Ethiopia, and then I realized I didn't know anything at all about business, and even filling in the application form was a good exercise for me, because I had to think, I had to get my business plan together. I had a business plan, but it was nowhere near complete or well thought out. And so the program, the ED4D program, went right from the first go. And I was so motivated by, with the introduction of the business model canvas, open up a whole new world for me, how to think about the business and really be professional about it for my own sake. And that was, I'll never forget going home and really feeling relieved that I finally got something, or a group of people I can actually depend on and share ideas with them, including my colleagues and also the mentors. And through that, I got introduced to other mentors, during the pitch period, if you like, the pitch program, for instance. I made several new contacts, and up until that time, I hadn't really factored in that one of the bases of doing what I wanted to do was really to build a network. And up until that time, up to that time, I was just on my own, trying to keep all my, basically, you don't even want to discuss your business with another person because you worry that maybe they become competitors or that. And then I learned from the program that you don't need to do that. You just have to build on your network and collaborate. And from then onwards, everything then began to open up for me. And so the benefit is immense. I can make a long list here of all the various things I've learned and the benefits to me. I haven't yet actually started a new project yet, but at the moment I'm in a place where I really feel like I'm making, I'm going forward. Up until then, I knew there was something missing in my plans, or something missing in what I really wanted to do, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it until I entered the program. And it's especially the last boot camp that we had, because then we're now moving from the theory, if you like, onto the ground, where we really, through Impact Hub, you get to hear from people who are going through exactly the same, or who have been where I've been, and instead of me finding it out for myself like they did, the way I benefited from them, and they start talking about all the problems they've had and the solutions they've had. They've actually found for all the various problems. And through the program also, before we got here, I was able to benefit a lot from my mentor, Highwell, who really, one thing I really liked about my mentor was, he was very critical, and I loved that, because he opened my eyes if he needed to actually point out the fact. It's not like to making you feel good about yourself. Sometimes I felt like, oh, I knew all this, but then with his insight, it was really, really helpful, grounded, made me more grounded, really took a very disciplined approach to what I was doing, a methodical approach. So it's all been, for me personally, it's all been very great. And I wish I'd had the ED4D program before I went on gallivanting with my own ideas and plugging in all my savings. You know, I've spent about 50,000 euro of my own money before I came across this program. And I really believe if it had been the other way around, I would have been way ahead by now. But I'm still motivated, and all is not lost. I really feel like I'm making a lot of progress as we speak. Through contact from one of the motivational speakers, David Coleman, for instance. He's been part of the original training, and also recently through Hub has introduced me to even more people in business people in Ghana. So I believe that within the next 5 years, my hope is I'll be Solarbox will be a well-known solar, if you like, company and providing energy, and not just providing the business, also helping solutions to provide solutions for energy, green energy use in Ghana. You know, having a great impact within the green economy. So very much that is. I'm looking forward to the coming and my trip to Ghana as well, because that is when I really have time to sit down with Impact Hub to really iron things out. Thank you very much. So that's what I wanted to share with you.
Okay, David, thank you very much. Eyob Amra is our next participant. You're specialist in agricultural innovation. Eyob, what are your ideas to increase food security in Ethiopia?
Yeah, thank you very much, Marianne. Yeah, indeed, my name is Eyob. In profession, I'm a system architect, so I'm spending my day every day with technology and working towards improving people's life. Originally, I'm from Ethiopia. I moved to the Netherlands to study my master's degree, and now I'm working at Philips. Basically, I'm a person who always likes to work. I like my work because it touches people's life every day. But I'm also a person who always think back home, how to also give back or also pay back. This feeling of we all, I think, learn and educated in Ethiopia, or maybe it's also the same in Ghana, with the taxpayer money, which we didn't pay nothing. So I have always this mindset and passion for myself. How could I give back, and how could I also benefit my country in a certain way? That's basically always where the passion comes from. And because of that, I have always ear and, let's say, attention for what's happening here and in Ethiopia. And because of that, I was introduced to the ED4D program during the launch in Den Haag. So I was also participated. Basically, when the post appears to submit a business plan, yeah, I'm a guy who has a lot of list of ideas what to do, quite in early phase, but also very not structured thinking. So I want to do agriculture. Maybe sometimes I think about engineering. So I was a guy with a lot of ideas, and then I managed to participate in the training. So one of the things which resulted in the training is it gives me a thought how to structure your business starting from A to Z. So that means I think we learn about making business model canvas. It really gives an idea of how to bring the product and services you thought or you have in mind to the consumer, and think about who are our consumers. And it's not only about earning money, but how we can also serve and think about the value chain. So I think that's where initially I, as a startup with a lot of ID, I could be able to filter out my tons of ID to a few IDs, which at the end reach to agricultural innovation. That also is in line with my passion. I used to go to Ethiopia a lot of times. When I was a kid, I used to travel to the rural areas. I saw agriculture or farming has been done using oxes, and this practice still it continues. So I wonder how technology or innovation could actually accelerate food production and also secures the food security for the country. That is the reason why I focused on agriculture. So I think if I look at a bit the journey I have in the ED4D training, once we had the training, I had a discussion or also a thought with my mentor, Stephen, and during that discussion, it's helped me quite a lot to sharpen my business idea. As I said to Steve, I'm in a starting phase, which has a lot of calculations and numbers and what to do. But his question, and when we had the discussion on his table, for example, I can give something. I say I started with 200 hectares of land to do wheat farming. I didn't realize that will require more than 5 million euro investment, which I do not have any. So basically, the mentoring discussion helped me also to sharpen my thoughts, not to start with the whole world, but start with the small, and you can scale up step by step. I think that's a big gain, I have to say, or a big learning, which I learned from Stephen. And then based on that, I reshaped my business plan actually from 200 hectares to 10 to 50 hectares in a way that I can start my business and scale up in the future. So basically that was the journey I had in ED4D until the mentoring. But after the mentoring, we also have the discussion and the bootcamp with Ethiopia that also totally, I think, changed the way how we see things because all the numbers and the calculations we basically had for my business plan is based on information we ask from primary or secondary persons, but what's happening in the ground, which regulatory framework to follow, and what are the critical things to consider in Ethiopia. That also comes from the Northern South Consulting, which we had a discussion with Sasika and also with all the Ethiopian colleagues during this discussion. So in my view, the ED4D program helped me as a startup to filter all of my ideas to an idea which becomes a practical business to do. But besides filtering the idea, it also makes me a person which thinks about the value chain of the business. It's not about bringing business, but thinking about the end-to-end consumer. Where do you start your business, and which customer and are you actually providing your services and also products. But besides that, it's also teach me how to start. I think what we are also always, most of us working here in the Netherlands or in another country, struggling is how to get the balance between being employed and left all what you have here and start a business. And from that perspective, starting a business back home with a small scale by taking less risk and learning the environment is a great thing which I learned from this program. And I'm very thankful for all the participants, and I'm looking forward for myself, which I will use the plane ticket next year to travel and to see, and also to really verify my business plan and to make sure my startup will start to fly. Thank you very much for the organizer, but also thank you very much for everyone who participated and let me to learn.
Okay, Eyo, thank you very much. Those are two of our very enthusiastic, I must say, participants. We now move on to the mentors, Hans Kooijman and Steven van Kempen. Can you tell me, maybe Hans, you will start first. What did you do as a mentor, and how did you experience mentoring our participants?
Good. Now my camera and sound is on, yeah? Can you hear and see me? Okay. My name is Hans Kooijman. I'm working as an expert for PUM, for the sector of building. I do that now for about 5 years. My professional work in the Netherlands is project manager in infrastructure with a focus on concrete works. And next to that, I manage a knowledge platform on concrete technology in the Netherlands. It was for me the first time that I worked together with someone who actually lived in the Netherlands, so knows about a bit about doing business in the Netherlands and how we do and organize things. But of course, also someone who knows about the situation in Ethiopia. And the plan was also based on that idea, how to sell the project in Ethiopia. To be more specific, the project is about developing a way of building prefabricated concrete manholes, sewer manholes for bigger sewer projects in Addis. And that is something that is not done that way in Africa. It's all built on site by man labor, by a lot of work. And the idea is originally starting with an Austrian patent on prefabricating manholes to work on that. And maybe I take a bit of a sidestep about making concrete manholes, because a lot of people say, well, that's not really rocket science to make a concrete manhole. Well, that's the same thing with rocket science. If you are a rocket scientist, rocket science is not that difficult at all. But when you go to prefab manholes, there is a lot to talk about. And a lot of people, and that's the thing with building, know 80% about building. And the tricks, of course, are in the rest of the 20%. So I was amazed by Henok's business plan and the ideas and the opportunities that there are in Ethiopia, and specific in the area of the big city of Addis. There's a lot to do in sewer improvement. But they say, well, what do you know about manholes? Did you ever make one, or did you ever see one being made? And then it became a bit quiet. So we said, well, why don't we first go to a factory in the Netherlands and see how manholes are made? And of course, it is one of the, I would think, the best company in the Netherlands who does that, with a lot of automation, automated processes. So the first visit was about a bit a shock and awe visit to see how difficult it is to make a proper manhole and to do it at a specific price. Because the bit of the trick in concrete in sewer condition is sewer conditions are quite aggressive, a lot of acidity, which is not very positive for concrete. So you have to make a difference by making a good quality. And that's also a bit of a mind shift. Building is not finished when your client pays you and you run away with the money, but it's a question of convincing the client that you provide quality that will last for 50 years or something. So it might cost a bit more, but it lasts very, very long. And so what was a bit different from the normal missions that we do at PUM is we visit the client on site, and we're not able to show all the possibilities that we already have in the Western world. So it was a bit better opportunity to show my part of the business, say the technical input, and of course I would have been interested to see the political and the commercial situation in Addis, but it doesn't mean nothing to me. It was already with Henok, so we had the opportunity to absorb both the sides of the we would say in Dutch, of the medal. So well, we had a quite open discussion about it. So I was not really the expert, but more the coach in the process. So see what he was doing and helping him a bit, but also confronting him a bit with the gaps in the knowledge. And well, of course, the biggest advice that we had that was only 3 weeks ago, so we kept in contact. So after rethinking the business, after the first shock visiting the factory of De Hamer in Nijmegen, I have to mention the name because they were very, very helpful in sharing their knowledge, is getting back there and also making an appointment and being an apprentice for a few days and really getting his hands dirty, as we said, get your hands dirty and get into the details of producing things. So you get to have a bit of a feeling what's the advantage of prefabrication, and see that it gives you more quality and more speed, and at the end also lower costs. Because we also discussed in our mentoring that the pitfall in working in Africa or in very low wage to our standards from Europe's side and low labor cost countries is that you never come to any innovation, because you always say, well, any investment doesn't pay back because it's cheaper to do it with more people on a longer scale. But if you want really have good quality, please think about do it in an industrial way. You get higher quality, which is very needful in the sewer business, working with concrete. You get a higher production, and at the end also a lower cost and a quicker development also in the knowledge of people. So if you ask me when someone tries to sell me something special when it's handmade, I always have a question with it. Especially in construction, we believe more in industrial made. That's higher quality and at the end also cheaper. So the best advice that I could give Henok, and I think he also adapted it, is get your hands dirty and make a sewer manhole by your own, so you have an idea about the details in that technology. And of course, many thanks for this opportunity to learn from it, because I never been to Ethiopia, but I already learned a lot about it. And I hope for all the people in Ethiopia that the situation gets safe and stays safe in the future, because it's not getting very good at this moment. But thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Hans. Steven van Kempen, can you tell us how did your mentoring go?
Yes, I will try. Yes, my name is Steve, not Steven, but Steven. The English name, Steven van Kempen. I'm an auditor. My background is I'm a CPA, I'm an auditor, and I worked almost my whole life for one of the big 4 firms. I had a broad client portfolio. That means a lot of clients for auditing, but also I helped a lot of firms starting or firms who wanted to expand in how to do that. So I helped them with making their business plans, helped to get finance, went with them to banks, etc. So that's my background. I also went the last 10 years of my life a lot to developing countries and Western countries to inspect the quality of my audit firm over there. So I came in a lot of countries, and also was in Ethiopia, I was in Ghana, and many other countries. And then I saw this is nice to do also after I'm retired. So I went, after I was 60, I applied for a PAM expert, and I was a member. I'm now a member of their team. I did a lot of missions the first 4 or 5 years, and 2 years ago I was approached to help with the ED4D program, to do a presentation, my name is already mentioned by Doreen. I did 2 presentations, one for Ethiopia, one for Ghana, and the presentation was about insight and the keys to run a successful business in developing countries. I tried to explain in just 20 minutes, 25 minutes, what you have to do and not to do to become a successful entrepreneur. Of course, that's on a very, very high level. But I told them some cases based on my experience in developing countries and what's really a big pitfall. And I was impressed by the number of people. And both meetings were almost 80, almost more or less 80 people there, and a lot of them approached me after the meeting, what to do, how to do, etc., to become to become selected by ED4D for helping them to make a business plan. A lot of them applied, and I just learned that almost that 20 were selected by several parties. Yeah. I mentored not 1 but 2 people. Ejob Ambra, you just have seen him, who want to start a wheat farm in Ethiopia, and Alfred Atta, he's also in the audience somewhere, who is into a food juicing processing company in Ghana. I know nothing about wheat farming, and I know nothing about juice processing. So that's can be a problem, but it's not really a problem, because it's not about how to grow wheat or how to make juice, but it's about their plan. And I learned in my whole life, in my whole career, to raise a lot of critical questions, because all starting entrepreneurs think they are having a very good plan that is always very successful, and they forget a lot of things, like how can I convince people who have to finance it. And Ejob was telling that he started with a huge how you call it, a lot of land to acquire, a lot of land. And when you try to make it practical, you see that's too big. It's too much to start with. So I try to get them down on earth with both legs, and then we start again. Yeah. And I must say, both were very, very clever, and that's very nice. Of course, they do not come to ED4D just by coincidence. They come because they have a good plan and they want to do something with it. That's the first step that only clever people do, because not clever people do a lot of things, but don't ask for good advice. That was also one of the things I told in my first presentations. Always try to find people who can help you in the beginning, how to start and what to do. Don't start just from scratch. It will help you if you have a good advice from a lot of people. And I think that's the best thing that ED4D can give them. They gave them a lot, really a lot. If you see what they did the last 2 years in helping them with business plans, with how to structure it, with what to do in the country itself. I don't know a lot about Ethiopia or Ghana, the country itself, about tax systems. But that's not necessary, because there are other people who told the two mentor people how to do that. Do they have a comparative advantage to other entrepreneurs? Yes, I do. I think they really do have a comparative advantage, because they had a good training and a good start, but they still have to fulfill their plan, and that's maybe even the biggest step in their plan. They are thinking, okay, now I know, but it's all in theory. We wrote it down. We have a presentation, we have the figures, but when you make your hands dirty, like Hans just said, then it's always a little bit different. So the next step, and that's maybe the most difficult step, is to really start your business. And then it means that you have to invest a lot of time in that kind of things, not behind your desk like we did now, not on a screen, but really doing things together with people who you want to involve. So what and Eop already explained a little bit. I tried to challenge them. What to do? What is realistic? Once, it's not one of the people I mentored. Once I had someone who had a specific idea, and I challenged him, and within 4 years he will have the whole world market for him. No competitors anymore. The whole demand from the whole world was made by him, and then you can illustrate that's not realistic. I'm lucky that both, as well as Eop of Alfred, were very realistic and did also the right calculations. And when they came to me, I sometimes had a lot of remarks, why this, why that, why that. And then next time, a few weeks later, they were not disappointed. They were very eager to change their plans. And I must say, they had both very nice plans. I was also involved in the jury of one of the countries. And that was also very nice, because I saw all the other plans, all 16. I was able to see all 16. It was a lot of work. We scored them together with Zinzi and others and IOM. Also, Doreen was a part of the jury, and it was very nice to see that all 10 of us, we had more or less, all of us had more or less the same idea about which 10 are really the most successful business plans. And I agree with Doreen that the other 6 who didn't make it were also good plans. But yes, there was only room for 10 finalist people to go to the country, and not 60. So that's a pity, because all 60 were very nice plans. What is the biggest strength of both of them? I think that they want to give back something to their country. Eop already mentioned it. They have both a nice job in the Netherlands, nice family, nice house, and they want to give something back. That is a lot of. It will cost them a lot of effort, because they have to fly over there, and maybe they even have to take their family back to Ghana and Ethiopia and start their new life, a different life. And that's what I admire in both of them, that they don't say, okay, I have a nice job in the Netherlands, nice income, maybe in winter the weather is a little bit cold, but for the rest, nice here. No, they really want to do something back, and that's also, I think, the strength of the ED4D program, and they really want to do something for countries who need it. Yes, I think that was everything I want to say.
Okay, David, Ejob, Hans, and Stephen, thank you very much. Floor back to you, Doreen, I assume.
Yes, thank you, Marianne, and thanks to all who shared their testimony today. I think it's very inspiring that, yes, we managed to get such enthusiastic participants in the ED4D project and also very enthusiastic mentors. And I really like to thank Pum and all the mentors because it's part of their time that they have dedicated to the different ED4D participants. And even I know that Hans is still taking Henok along to visit factories even after all this time. So I really want to thank you specifically, Hans, for that. And it's nice that you send me emails from time to time with a picture of what the two of you are out doing. I think that's what the program is also about. I think it has a longer impact, of course, than these 2 years that we were together. I'm sure that even when the project will close officially end of December, I know that there will be some trickle down effects even in 2021. So I'm looking forward also to see that. I don't know how it is with the fatigue of everyone, but I would suggest that maybe we just continue because we only have one, like, let's say one session that you actually actively have to listen to, and then it's more a little bit relaxed. So let's move to the panel session. Maybe I invited to the panel 3 persons who are representatives from partners who have been active in our project. But I would like my colleague Frewot from Ethiopia to introduce them. I hope you have a good connection, Frewot, because I know in Ethiopia it's a little bit challenging at this time. But I'll give the floor to you to introduce the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Can you hear me? I just wanted to check first.
Yes, perfect connection.
All right. I think I would let the camera off, the video off, so that we have better connection. Is that okay?
Yes,
all
sure.
Right. Okay. Good afternoon, all. I'm very, very pleased to see every one of us together at the end. This is Freyot Tefera from the International Organization for Migration Ethiopia office. As Doreen has already introduced, we've closely worked together on this project, and I was pleased to hear all the former speakers with the impact that they had as a result of this program. So now today for this panel discussion, we have 3 of our guests. So I'll briefly introduce our guests. First of all, I would like to thank each one of you, the 3 speakers, for making the time to be here with us. Our first panelist is Frida Natarguin. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. Frida is from City Circle. Frida migrated from Kenya to the Netherlands in 2014 to do her master's in finance, and then worked for a while before starting her business. Inspired by her own challenge, she started City Circle, a platform where diverse entrepreneurs would find all the resources, incubation, coaching, and funding that they need. And she provided their training for the ED4D participants in the Netherlands. So thank you, Frida. Welcome on board. And then the second one, our second speaker is Saskia Klosman from North-South Consulting, based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Saskia is a Dutch entrepreneur based in Addis Ababa, where she's settled since 2004. Her company, North-South Consulting, is helping local and international businesses and investors who are setting up in East Africa or preparing products for the international market. She and her team have organized a virtual bootcamp for the Ethiopian entrepreneurs. Welcome on board, Saskia, again. And our third and final panelist is William Senoy from Impact Hub, Accra. William Senoy is the co-founder and CEO of Impact Hub Accra. His competencies lie in structuring incubator programs across Africa, training ecosystem leaders, building infrastructure to support entrepreneurs, advising global institutional partners and venture capital financing for African startups. He and his team provided a virtual bootcamp for the Ghanaian entrepreneurs. Welcome, William. Welcome, everyone. I'll now give the floor to Doreen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Freywat, for these introductions. I cannot see everyone on the screen, but I would like, Will, I can see you in your camera. That's fine. Frida, do you have your camera on? Somehow I cannot see you on my screen. Yes, and I don't know if Saskia, are you with us? I know the connection has been a challenge from your side. Can you hear us?
Yes, I hope I can hear you now, and I hope you can hear me too.
Yes, we can hear you, but in your case, I would suggest not to put on the camera. So I will ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay. I will start with Frida. Frida, you are a diaspora entrepreneur yourself, so you know the challenges faced by this group. Do you believe that a specific program destined at diaspora entrepreneurship is necessary? What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you very much, Doreen, and hi everyone. It's really nice to see, everyone faces that we've interacted with for almost a year now, I think over a year. So I'm just excited to be here, and of course, yes, definitely. When I think Freywat already said that I personally experienced what many diasporas experience when you move to your country, a new country of residence. You've left your country behind, where you come from. Definitely things are not easy. Where you land, you need to find your footing. And believe you me, when you want to set up your business again in your country of origin, it's a whole set of challenges, even sometimes cultural change. So I do think it's one thing that, you can run by doing. Entrepreneurship is about trial and error. But you definitely need the skills. You need to belong to an ecosystem. You need to network. You cannot be, the only one brain of so many things. So when you come up, especially to join a program such as ED4D, and I think David and Hoe, you really summarized the benefits. You start, talking to other people about what you're doing. You start learning new things, and especially for a program, we really provided them. We started from scratch. We filled up the business model canvas with different aspects. It's going to have a good value proposition for your business, for example, which, by the way, you cannot do it without getting feedback. Yeah, you come up with a business idea, but you have to tell somebody, not your mother, because your mother is going to say, wow, it's brilliant. She's conflicted, of course. So you really need all those skills. You need to do customer discovery, talk to your customers. You need to define, your revenue streams and all that. I don't have to go into details because all of you really went through that. But it's really important that you seek some skills. You seek some to belong somewhere. You have your peers to give some feedback and to interact with. And I'm very happy with ED4D because we also saw some participants actually formed partnerships. They are business partners as we speak today. So definitely, Doreen, I would really say go for it if you're an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Frida, and thank you also for the successful collaboration. I think we all agree that it was something that we would like to reproduce in a future project. So let's hope we'll have the opportunity. But let me ask my second question then to Saskia. Saskia, you have moved yourself from the Netherlands to Ethiopia as an entrepreneur, so you know the local context and the ecosystem very well. Is it true, according to you, that diaspora entrepreneurs are better placed than other entrepreneurs to recognize opportunities?
Yes, I believe it is true. But before you can recognize your opportunities, one, as Frida also mentioned, you need to make sure you have this business canvas model really well worked out. You need to get your information from the local context. So the program what we have seen also is that we first had a general business plan. What do you want to do and how would it work? Where's your market? And in our sessions, we went into the detail of the Ethiopian context, where people really held their business plan upside down, inside out, changed and adjusted things because of the local context is different. And we also do know that if in Ethiopia you are starting in the wrong way, you have to start all over again, losing your time, losing money, and losing even the courage to continue. What I know from my experience is that when I started, the first 5 years, I didn't start my business. I looked at other people's businesses and talked with a lot of entrepreneurs to understand where is the market, what is the customers, what are the challenges. And I think also within our training, we had some other diasporas talking to our trainees in order to better get an understanding of where is your place. Yes, you have a lot of advantages because you are more quick to see where the opportunities are. At the same time, the local environment while you were away has changed. So it is a combination of different things. The bureaucratic system plays a very big role in Ethiopia in making people to succeed. And if you are not fully aware of the loopholes or the things people will not tell you, because Ethiopia works, if you don't ask, you will not get the right answers. So you need to know what to ask. And we have tried also with our entrepreneurs to get through this challenge to understand which questions to ask in office in order to obtain land and to start up their businesses, to understand what to look for. And I think that will make it successful. So a very strong preparation before you start, some visits before you can really start your business is very important, to do your research on the ground. This is crucial to succeed in Ethiopia, but we have seen people really becoming successful from the diaspora because of the added value that people have. We have also talked with Ayub, for example, about added value of the wheat production. What is an additional requirement that you could bring in as a diaspora, which Ethiopians couldn't do? Where is your niche market? Where would you succeed? So we have given him some suggestions, and then it's up to him to take it up and integrate it within his plan if he wants to do that.
Thank you so much, Saskia. And I think that's really it. I think throughout this project, I think, yeah, they have been offered a lot of advice and a lot of tips. So it's up to them, of course, then to take it into account and to do something with it. But let me ask my next question to Will Senyo from Impact Hub Accra. Will, what are, according to you, the best qualities that an entrepreneur should have?
Thanks, Doreen. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of them. I'll focus on just one for the purposes of this conversation. And for me, it became the most paramount of all, resilience. I think as entrepreneurs building anything in these parts of the world, you can't be just focused on the opportunity and the potential and the numbers. You have to build almost an armor to be able to manage the sheer amount of challenges that you have to deal with to get to market and to get to profitability. The people that survive here, in my view, I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, invested in tens of them. The people that survive here are not necessarily the smartest or the most experienced. It's the most resilient, who keep hacking their way through the challenges, building new relationships as they grow, and building internal strength to constantly charge forward. Because what separates the winners here from the, for lack of a better word, losers, is those longevity. How many people, how have you managed to engineer your business in a way that it can go the long haul and eventually succeed? There's a difference between you have no product market fit and you just have to stop. Sometimes you have product market fit, but you need patience to do the hard work of building the whole, sometimes a whole new niche for yourself over a long period, educating people about the opportunity. If you look at David, for example, it's not that solar is not a viable opportunity in Ghana, but the intricate details around financing, changing people's mindset, the potential for issues around maintenance, having technical skills capacity here, lack of technical skills capacity for to be able to manage the skill. All of these things require you to have a deep focus on longevity. So you can't just come in and hope that in a year or two you figured it out. And so for me, for anyone building anything, especially in Ghana, you just need a mindset of resilience, that I know this is going to be a tough journey and I'm going to internalize that whole thing and power through it, knowing that the end is going to be an outcome I'll be proud of, because that is the only thing that will keep some people here in the face of the odds that they have to face to even sometimes make a small dream come true. So for me personally, I'll say that if you can build some mechanisms that will enable that resilience to happen, and that means that you are thinking outside the normal route to market that most people think of. You are thinking different ways to raise capital that are not conventional, because it's not a conventional situation that you're going to deal with. You're thinking different ways to find talent that can also have resilience. So you're hiring people that are very much also inbuilt, have the capacity to go through tough times. Not necessarily the best person, but sometimes the person that can stick around, learn, and grow with you. And so these are things that for me have become really critical to succeed here in Ghana. And for the most part, sometimes diaspora entrepreneurs, if there is a flaw there, is that some of them, because they haven't experienced much of the craziness in these parts, it takes them a longer curve to build some of these internal resilience that is required to succeed here. I have a running joke that I don't deal with returnees until they've crossed the 12-month mark. That for me shows you are here to stay, and now I can actually take you serious and engage you. Anyone that is dabbling here for a month or 2 or 3, I've seen a number of them come and flame out just because the structures aren't built for a lot of what they want to do, get frustrated, and then pack up and leave. But you have to understand that to make anything happen here, this is what we have to deal with, and you have to power through it and get to your end goal. So for me, the big one, resilience.
Okay, thank you, Will. I think that's quite clear, and it also reminds me why I'm not an entrepreneur, but I hope that all the others are. My next question goes back to Frida. So Frida, you've been working closely with our group of entrepreneurs, which was a quite diverse group. Do you think they have anything in common, and what would be your advice to them?
Thank you very much, Doreen. I think, one thing that was evident was the inner drive and the motivation. When we had the kickoff event, the first day of our bootcamp, I just saw people who had fire in them, right? It was really nice, and that really shows, and I agree with Will, that you can only be resilient if you have inner self-drive, if you keep pushing, if you sometimes you stumble, but you wake up and keep going. So I saw that in all of you, I believe, even as Kempen was saying, you know, when we trying to arrive at the last 10, it was really, really difficult. Sometimes we sat there and we didn't know what to do. Why? Because, you know, once you have that inner drive and self-motivation, you keep going. And that could be seen in your business plans. And definitely, you know, there are other things that you can add to that. Of course, you know, that you acquire skills and you have everything that you need, you know, in terms of tools to start your business. But I think the greatest and what you need to do is, first of all, you have to keep talking to your customer. You know, you have to start with one customer. We don't start building a mansion and then one day, boom, it's up. You have to take the first steps. You have to, you know, if you're a farmer, you plant the first banana and the banana becomes, you know, grows and sprouts and starts having other bananas. So I would say you have to, you know, to keep going, but at the same time, you have to take the first step. And I think most of you, I know all of you came into the ED4D program with a lot of expectations. And the first day, I remember Toon and I think almost all speakers told you, like, you know, it's up to you. Yeah. Frida can say that, you know, maybe the business is not doing well. Maybe I don't think this is a good business plan. You are the driver. You know, you're on the wheel. And it's only you can determine whether it goes on or it stops. And then you have to take the first step. Even before you do your field trip, I know you have a voucher to travel back to your home country. There are things you can do, you know, and that means taking the first step. And once you take the first step, somebody will see, somebody sees and sometimes supports you along the way. And the next thing, like we kept telling you in Tone, speak to your customer, you know, speak to the end user, speak to the next person. Yeah, because that's the only way you get feedback. And, you know, if because you have to pivot. So you have to know, am I developing this for the right customer or not? So I think, Doreen, those are the things I can leave them with them today. Thank you.
Thank you, Frida, for this nice and positive message. Now back to Saskia. Saskia, I said it already several times, but you're a diaspora entrepreneur yourself, so I'm sure you dealt with a lot of challenges already in Ethiopia. How can you overcome these challenges, and what would be your message to our entrepreneurs?
Yeah, the challenges, of course, are always plenty. But I always believe for every challenge there is a solution. As mentioned within the trainings that we did with all the participants, and even emphasized by other diasporas that have been investing in Ethiopia and becoming successful, it is like in Ethiopia, the opportunities are like the sky is the limit. There are so many opportunities that in the beginning, when people come, they see everything and they want to do everything. And it is very important that the people stay focused and decide to start with one thing and go for that. And when you then have been succeeding with one thing, you can then let it go, sustain it, and start another business. Like I have set up 2 businesses, so I'm operating at the moment 2 different businesses. I am a lonesome ranger because I am a European woman entrepreneur. I think in Ethiopia there are maybe 3 women entrepreneurs from Europe, and we know each other. So what we see also is that you need to build a network and join with each other, join hands. At the same time, you have to stay keeping your focus, because it's like swimming in an ocean in Ethiopia, and everywhere there's an opportunity, and it can be unendless, the swimming exercise, but at one point you have to make decisions to keep a sharp focus and go for it. Don't give up. It is an endurance. It's not for the short, you're not in it for the short term. You have to also decide to move to Ethiopia if you really want to give it a serious chance, because running a business from afar in Ethiopia is actually impossible. These are also, we have given many more suggestions, but I think these are one of the major challenges but also things that we say that's what you have to overcome. So you have to make a decision. How will you run your business in Ethiopia? From afar, it is really difficult or almost impossible unless you have a partner that you really, really trust and rely on. And then it is about endurance, not giving up, and keeping a sharp focus on your target and go for it before you start doing anything else. So not to be distracted, but keep the focus on where you want to go. And then when you succeed, then you can go for the other things that you were thinking of before.
Thank you so much, Saskia. So I think you all agree, the three of you in the panel at least, that it takes a lot of resilience, but also that it's necessary to move to the country if you want to set up a business. So let me get back to Will. I know, Will, that you only want to talk to entrepreneurs if they have passed the first year into Ghana again. But do you think that once they have passed the first year, do you think they have a comparative advantage compared to local entrepreneurs or even international ones?
For sure. If you had three categories of entrepreneurs, and all of them had the key factor for me, that is resilience, I would definitely see a diaspora entrepreneur as having an edge over local entrepreneurs or even expert entrepreneurs for a number of reasons. If you looked at the profile of some of our entrepreneurs in ED4D, they've had Ghanaian experience, so they've lived here, they've gone to school here, they understand the cultural context. But they've also had the advantage of living in other parts of the world and learning from kind of higher global standards and building expertise that is above the average here, and also in some cases build up some personal resources, and they have local and international relationships. Now, if you put all of it together, it definitely gives you an edge. And if the depth of an entrepreneur is a function of how much they've seen and what they've experienced and multiple contexts that they are comfortable in, then obviously a diaspora entrepreneur, if they play their cards well, has a wider reach in terms of relationships that they can leverage, has wider depth of knowledge in terms of what they've seen and understand, and best practices that they've seen in the rest of the world, and have an advantage in having cultural context locally. So a mix of things make them the ideal entrepreneur to succeed if only they have the right mix. Because some people could be diaspora entrepreneurs, but they are more of one thing than they are the other. So if you have good balance between German and Dutch and Ghanaian, for example, not by necessarily heritage, but mostly by cultural adaptation of some sort, then you have a very good mix. So it means you are efficient, you're likely on time most of the time. You most likely be able to manage both Ghanaians and Dutch with ease, which means that you can deal with Dutch investors and deal with Ghanaian staff, because the frustrations that come from building anything here tend to be cultural and an adaptation to them and what we consider acceptable or not. So I think for sure diaspora entrepreneurs, if they have the right balance or mix of traits of both worlds, are highly placed to succeed in the local context if they take advantage of that edge that they have. And then also, obviously, there's also the question of technical depth. If we agree that the global north tends to have, in certain industries, tends to have an edge in terms of advancement in innovation, the technical knowledge and capacity, then it means that for players that are doing some niche technical products or services, if they have industry experience from the global north, and then they are coming home to a place where there's not that much knowledge, it already places them 10 notches above their average local entrepreneur here. And that edge can itself manifest in quality standards that they can bring and then a clear differentiation that can also be visible to the customer when they engage them. So there's obviously advantages for being a diaspora entrepreneur, but I think it has to be the right mix, not too much of one side to the detriment of the other. If there's good balance, then it means you can straddle both worlds and deliver great work in the country of origin and still be able to consider yourself local, which is something that can be very important in building business relationships. And then the final thing, this is a shame, but it's true, that our people here tend to sometimes give, for lack of a better word, trust people that are not necessarily on the technical side, that are not, say, educated here or haven't had their long professional experience here, because they somehow attach competence to having lived or worked in advanced economies, which is not entirely.
Okay, I think
diaspora entrepreneurs to your own advantage. I think there's several of them, but these are key. So for sure, there's an advantage there.
Okay, thanks so much, Will. I think we've come at the end of our panel discussion. So I would like to thank all of the three of you. And as I said before, for now, we don't have any immediate perspectives for a continuation project, but I really hope that we can keep the collaboration, and I hope that we will have some future opportunities also together. So to the people in the audience, I know that you're also very curious about who are these 40 entrepreneurs and what are their concrete business plans. And I wish that we could have had a physical event where they could have all pitched their business to you, but we have to do it virtually, unfortunately, and then we don't have time for this. But I think we were able to set up a nice presentation of all the entrepreneurs in a kind of slideshow with some nice music. So it will last a couple of minutes. You can have a look at it, and then we'll move to the last session already of our final event, which will be the closing word by Pam. But I will ask first my colleague Uzoma, can you please start the slideshow? thank you, Uzoma, for sharing this nice overview of the participants. And I think it's nice always to give a face to the project also, especially for those who did not have the privilege as myself to know them personally. So we've come already at the end of our event. So I will give the floor now to Andy Wakamp, who is the Managing Director of PUM. First, before I give you the floor, Andy, I would also like to thank you so much for the collaboration with PUM, because I think over these 2 years we had a very nice collaboration. And as I said before, between the mentors and the people who were very engaged, I think, yeah, we also had some nice friendships now. So let's hope we also have future opportunities. But now I will leave the floor to you if you want to have a final message, maybe for all of the ED4D participants. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doreen. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Doreen, and also Antonio, for giving me this opportunity to say some final words. It's a real honor. By the way, I liked your video very much to see all the faces behind this project and to see what you've done, and the music was also nice. And on the screen, I see many names, and one of them, I just want to mention Adrie Zagers, because we talked about this project right at the beginning. We said goodbye to Adrie, I think it was last year, so nice to see that you're participating also, Adrie. I just want to mention that I had the privilege to sign 2 years ago a cooperation agreement about this project with Antonio Polosa in the Humanity House in The Hague. And it's gone incredibly fast, you know, but I'm happy to see and to hear also today everything you've done and achieved so far, despite all the setbacks related to the corona pandemic and others. Now, we as PUM, we don't see ourselves so much as a donor, because the donor or the funder is actually the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or the Dutch taxpayer, I should say so. But we see ourselves as a volunteer organization of experienced Dutch entrepreneurs and private sector experts who share knowledge with entrepreneurs of small and medium-sized businesses in developing countries. PUM's experts, like, well, you've listened today to 2 of them, Hans and Steven, they're all volunteers who provide clients with practical advice and support them in applying it. It's actually the 2nd time that we provide coaching and mentoring in the Netherlands to diaspora entrepreneurs for businesses to be set up abroad that have not yet started or only recently started. However, it's the first time we did this with IOM. We've seen that the participants covered many sectors and innovative activities, ranging from innovative agriculture, like Amra in Ethiopia, who spoke today, to agri-processing, to ICT, to healthcare, to renewable energy. David, I've lived 2 years in Ghana, and I know your solar box is absolutely a big need in the market, because there are so many power cuts. There must be a market for your company in Ghana. Recycling business, tourism, virtual reality applications, etc. I may have forgotten some. Anyway, these are all sectors in which PUM has experts and expertise. Growing a business can't be done alone. It takes constructive feedback from trustworthy outsider with relevant expertise. And this was exactly PUM's contribution in this project. I'm very much impressed, I must say that also, by the virtual bootcamp organized by IOM, creating a best practice that we can all learn from, also PUM. Today, we're having a project closure, what is called a project closure, but it's actually also the start, it's the beginning, because it's the beginning of a hopefully flourishing business for all of you in your home country. Although the project is ending, we wish all the participants the very best. And I would like to encourage you to make use of all the connections that have been made throughout this journey. We have heard a lot today also about real entrepreneurship. I've heard the following. I've heard Stephen mentioned putting your feet on the ground. Hans, get your hands dirty. Will, you need resilience. Frida, talk with your, don't talk with your mom because she will just praise you, but talk with your customers. And Saskia said, keep focus. So many good ideas. Real entrepreneurship is also, as Antonio implied in the beginning, recognizing market opportunities, driving innovation, taking risks, maximizing all growth opportunities. I've been happy, and we are all happy in PERM to have been able to contribute. However, in the end, it will largely depend on your own drive. I think it was Frida who also stated before, she saw the fire in you and the drive in you. So I have a lot of confidence that that drive is there. Those actions will make your business grow. And as far as PERM is concerned, we are really interested in how you will be doing in 2021. Hopefully you will all be able to travel to Ghana and Ethiopia. We're looking forward to see the results of your visits to Ghana and Ethiopia next year. Hope to keep in touch. At the end of my words and of this meeting, I would like to mention one person in particular. And that person are you, Doreen. I want to really thank you for being just a top project manager, very organized, very creative, and a good communicator, always providing information, open to consultations, a good person, ideal person to work with. And then in the end, I assume these are the final words, but I would like to wish you all a nice and relaxing Christmas holiday and a very happy and good and better New Year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annie, for these nice words to my address, but also to everyone. And I think, yeah, it's a mutual feeling. I think we had a very nice collaboration with PERM and with all the entrepreneurs. I feel so proud of everybody. And yeah, we will definitely stay in touch and we will follow up on everyone what you have become in 2021. I see that Moses wants to raise his hand. Moses, I give you the floor, but I know that you speak sometimes for 15 minutes, so I'll give you 2 minutes, okay? You have to unmute yourself. Moses, we cannot hear you because you have to unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Doreen. I'm not going to talk for 2 minutes, just maybe less than 1 minute. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants whom we met, our Ethiopian brothers and sisters, and our Ghanaian brothers and sisters, and our Dutch, where we are all Dutch, but you know, all the combinations, all the nationalities, and all the people. I would like to thank them, well, personally, and at the same time, probably on behalf of all our participants. Doreen, especially you, we thank you very much for facilitating everything. Only one disappointment is that we couldn't all make it to Ghana as we planned, but well, no one could do anything about that. It's the pandemic brought all those things. And also Frida, also thank you. Tone, thank you. In short, thank you everyone and have a very blessed coming holidays and good 2021. Bye-bye and thank you all.
Thank you, Moses. I think we had a lot of thank yous. So I say goodbye and hope we meet in 2021. Maybe turn on the cameras and we can take a family picture before we close. Uzoma, I trust you will take a picture.
So everybody say cheese. Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Okay, this looks like a full screen. So goodbye, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Goodbye. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.